All right. Yeah.
Start. Yeah.
I have Kaiju girl, uh, Caramelise.
So
Caramelize?
why is it called
Caramelise?
caramelize?
Yeah.
Who's the caramel?
I,
Caramelize or
I,
caramelize?
I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know.
it, said- it says in the kana in the Japanese, it's a Caramelise, but it's like I feel like whatever. Yeah, maybe just Caramelise, but you could call it caramelize, I think.
Caramel dancing.
Yeah, caramel does. But yeah, so this is manga original, manga
Yeah, this
original.
is a manga manga
Um,
original from Leiden Film.
oh yeah, the adaptation done by Lion Films. Lion
Yeah.
Films is also pretty solid, I think.
Yeah, yeah. This has pretty solid AV, so. But yeah, so this series is
Mhm,
about uh Kuroe. And
mhm.
basically she is, the usual like introverted character that doesn't, just likes to go off on her own and is kind of like a social reject. Listens to her metal music classes.
Now, is she a social reject because she's a kaiju, or is it because
So she kind of
she's
like
a
turned
kaiju
herself into
because
one
she's
because of that. So the way it's
As you
explained
do.
is she thinks that she has a just like an illness that doctors couldn't figure out how to cure, where parts of her will turn like scaly and whatnot, depending on like her emotional state. But then after meeting the main male character, Minami Arata, who kind of hits it off with her, um, long story short, without spoiling too much, she winds up turning into a full kaiju form at some point. And it's the first time she's ever done that. And so this kind of just turns into, the whole like the most popular guy hitting it off with her, um, and her trying to manage her kaiju aspects while juggling like a romance. As far as
are there other kaijus in this series?
so I'm 4 episodes in, and so far, no,
What?
which is weird. Um, yeah, I think this is technically the first like kaiju that's shown up. She's like the first one. I don't know if there will be more down the line, but so far there's like a supporting
There,
character
there are,
that
yeah.
should. Okay, yeah, because right now like there's a supporting character, Tomosato Manatsu, and she's like a really eccentric girl whose dad I think was a um I think he like worked on like tokusatsu films and stuff. And so she
Ah, that
became
makes
like
sense.
obsessed with kaiju, and so she winds up like dressing up constantly, ironically as like a butterfly in a lot of occasions, and trying to like
Like
woo.
so, Mothra.
Yeah, and she tries to like she becomes obsessed with Kuroe's kaiju form, which is named Harugan. Other than that, the it's interesting because like the main crux of the story, it like obviously there's a decent amount of like the romance stuff, but there's also a subplot where like her adopted mom, Akiishi Rinko, is she's like this weird like Gyaru former what is it? I don't even know what she does for work at this point, but yeah, she's a former biologist
Mhm.
who discovered with what's it called, with like her sort of like love interest ish like colleague at the time. um they discovered like a kaiju carcass and then found like the remains of a kaiju and then found the eggs, and then she took one of the eggs, which wound up, I guess, hatching into Kuroe. um I don't believe
Okay.
Kuroe is aware of that either. I think she does think that Rinko is her like actual biological mother, and that she does just have a
Like a
what would you
superpower or
call it?
something.
Yeah, like a effectively like a disease, an
Oh,
illness
okay,
that
okay, okay.
turns her into a kaiju. Her first transformation, like in the show as well, like she did not realize that was her at first. Um, yeah, it's
What
kind
do
of
you mean
like
by did
explained
not
where like
realize that was her at
like so
first?
she can turn into when she turns into a kaiju, she gets like more into like a dreamlike state as far as her consciousness goes,
I
and then
see. Mhm.
if she maintains that form for too long, at least right now, it starts to like take over her cognitively, like completely.
So she
Um,
she thought she had like an out of body experience kind of initially is what you're saying.
yeah, yeah, and so like
Okay.
a lot of this winds up turning into sort of an um, what would you call it, allegory or whatever, for
Sort
just
of, yeah.
Mhm.
her having like body
Mhm.
dysmorphia and low like self esteem and whatnot. Because like the big
Okay.
crux is her thinking like she's like ugly. Her kaiju form is like gross and ugly. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, and so
That's interesting.
as of right now, there hasn't been like too much. There's just kind of been like some romantic development between her and Arata. Arata's right like shtick as well was that he's in a sort of more literal boat and similar boat in the sense that well, yeah, I mean, I guess a minor spoiler, but they go to like a cafe and he refuses to eat like anything while they're there, and she eventually like gets it out of him that he was overweight in middle school, and so he basically has an aversion plus like a slight um what would you call it, it's not really described as like an eating disorder, but like
Pretty close to
or
one.
rather pitched as it, but it pretty
Yeah.
much is one because like
Yeah.
he refuses to eat like any sweets or anything, and then eventually she convinces him uh to have some with her and stuff like that. So I would like to see more of that too. I think it would be really neat if this also leans into a bit more of them both kind of overcoming these like disorders basically that they both suffer from, or like leaning on each other
Mhm.
for it. I think that would be a nice touch. But the weird part is that they're leaning a decent amount in the episodes right now. They're kind of leaning into the um this like sub story of Rinko knowing, where the kaiju egg came from and everything, and then Kotaro, her like former colleague, investigating it now and being like behind the scenes, like talking to someone shady on the phone or something. So I'm curious to see as to like where that'll go to and if it'll be able to like really truly juggle all that. Um as of right now, I kind of wish that there was a bit more character development slash like romance development in the first 4 episodes. There hasn't been a whole lot. But at the very least, like there's been like some minor steps, like of Arata finding out, not finding out that she's the kaiju or has the kaiju form, but is like slowly finding out that this kaiju had it like knows him somehow. Um, yeah, and even that is like kind of helping Kuroe overcome part of her phobias. But yeah,
Can I
there's
something?
it's kind of like a what you see
So
is what you get aspect to it. I will say I think one of the bigger letdowns is that like when she's been turning into a kaiju, like not a whole lot has really happened. She kind of just turns into a kaiju, wrecks something, and then like roars, and then gets like shot at.
are there implications in the story of her like doing stuff while being a kaiju?
Not really. I mean, there's like news reports and
No,
stuff, and
it's
like the world
yeah,
is becoming more apparent of it. But
it's pretty low stakes. It's not like
yeah, and
Mhm.
I mean, even the low stakes
So
nature like
is
is
the
fine. It's just more so like I would have liked to have seen her like seen that dude like be more of a thing. Just have a little bit more or something in the kaiju form. I imagine that'll happen like
Mm.
later on, especially if there's other kaiju.
Yeah,
Um,
from what I've seen in the manga, it's most like her like turning into the kaiju is kind of mostly treated as like a gag.
okay.
So
Oh, okay. So
yeah,
is the focus, at least in the anime? I mean, I'll ask both for the anime and to Nier, who's read the manga. Is the focus more on the allegorical symbolic nature? So it's like is it like a little bit more vague, like how say like Sasami-san is, right? Or is it more focused on the rom-com, or is it more focused on the backstory of like how these things came to be, or what's sort of the focus here? Like how is it
In the
structured?
anime so far, it's been split, I feel like, pretty evenly between the rom-com and like the allegory of the, the like dysmorphia with the
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
the kaiju
So
parts
they
and
don't
stuff
go
like
into
that.
like the science fiction, like weird, like backstory or whatever as much,
So
right?
not
Is what you're saying?
yet at the very least, but in the fourth episode, they kind of like leaned into it towards the end with the
hmm
um
hmm
the former colleague showing up and like talking to someone. And like
Yeah, a
there
lot
are
of it is
Because it's
cut-ins
like
when she turns into the kaiju of like Rinko, like the mother, having like some sort of flashback, minor flashback or introspection or something, or like internal monologue thing.
hmm
yeah.
hmm
From what I've seen,
because
most
it
of it's
feels
like
like
largely a
yeah.
vehicle for the rom-com. Like
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
Because it's like, because the reason why I point this out is because they like depending on even the ratios, right? Even just like the slight differences in the ratios, like they all kind of like the three things I mentioned all kind of take a different turn or a different tone, right? It's like if focusing on the allegory stuff versus or those like bigger themes versus focusing on the rom-com versus focusing on like the backstory of like oh somehow these kaijus are running around kind of thing, right? So
Right.
that's why. hmm Okay. Could you go over the audio visuals a little bit here, Dark?
Yeah, so the audio visuals are, it's light and film, so it's pretty good. It's not, I would say it's not like amazing or anything in a lot of ways, but it
hmm
it's pretty nice. Like obviously her full kaiju form is like CG. It's
Yep.
it's actually
CG's a little
blended
bit
pretty well
rough.
though.
I
Like
it's
it,
Mm.
I think
it's not
I
like
think it's
as
pretty
rough as
good.
it could. It's good for like what it's
Yeah,
doing.
but the fact
I
that
think
it's
the
not really
rougher
focused
stuff is
on
like
yeah, the fact that it's not really focused on like kaiju action, I think it looks fine, but it is a bit like um I feel like the model for like the actual like kaiju is a bit like it's a bit rough. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think like in motion and stuff it's like fine. It's just more so like yeah, the actual detailing of it and everything could definitely
Yeah.
be better. Um yeah, I think realistically, I think when she like half turns into a kaiju like that, the non CG is like winds up looking better at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think where some of it shines is the more like, I mean, obviously there's I mean, even from the cover you can see like the sparkly eye moments and stuff like that. Um that's akin to almost like a shojo type deal. But
Yeah, it's quite JoJo.
yeah, I think one of the more enjoyable parts to me has been some of the like weird gag drawings of her where she gets like far less detailed and blobby. I think that's been pretty cute, the transitions between that and some of the cut-ins of her. The just the standard like audio visuals I think are also like the 2D is pretty solid. I think it's not like, like I said, it's not like I'm like, oh man, like that cut was like amazing or anything, but I think it's definitely one of the more polished like of a standard series that you could ask for a series like this,
hmm
especially. I think the character designs and stuff have also been pretty fun, especially the gimmick of like the two biologists being like, I don't know, what would you call it, like a 30-year-old Gadu and a 30-year-old like
Yeah.
edgelord
the
guy
design's
with like
almost
piercings and fucking.
Yeah.
He looks. They look like fucking like Pokemon trainers half the time. Like
you know what it reminds me of is the cast and like the girl in the setup kind of reminds me of like a Magical Girl series, like design wise, and even like the guy, like it's like that the red haired guy from Symphogear, right? It's like that one tough guy.
yeah.
Like yeah,
But yeah, so like that's
yeah.
all been enjoyable. The music is fine. Pretty standard stuff. I think obviously like you have the big the horns come out for when she fucking turns into a kaiju, so you get the heavy brass instruments, which is
Mm-hmm.
obviously enjoyable. I think her kaiju design is like kind of whatever. Like it's pretty whack with the big ass like heart
Is it?
wing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's whatever. I think like I said, I think like her like partial transitions have been cooler, and with like some of the more like honestly, like, yeah, kind of gross like body horror-ish like shit that has happened with like spikes like starting to transition out of like human skin and stuff. You know,
Mm.
no disrespect, but IRL, I would be like, yeah, that kind of does look a little freaky. Sorry to say.
Yeah.
Sorry to say, not a huge deal, but a little freaky nonetheless.
Yeah. It's like a little bit surreal almost. Although
Yeah,
the kaiju itself is already not realistic, right? But yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like they do make a point. They do make a point to show it, like like when she's human, and like spikes grow on her back or something, having like these like just spikes, like not even like poking through her flesh. It's just like not quite yet. It just looks like these spikes like in her back, like coming out. So it does like look kind of nasty when she gets partially spiky.
Mhm.
But I think they
Yeah.
did a pretty good job at that too, like representing it in a way where it's like, yeah, you can understand why it's like this does look kind of nasty.
Mhm.
But yeah. And other than that, I think the voice cast has been pretty good. It's a pretty solid. Everyone does a pretty good job. I think Kudoe's voice actress is fairly new. Yes. Okay. So this is she's a complete
Yes,
newcomer,
I have not heard this name.
I believe, because she Hikari Senga, has she done okay, so yeah,
Yeah,
so
she
she's a
did.
main in
Yeah.
Precure and now, which is like concurrent, like the newest Precure, I guess, and then also now this.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so she's a very big newcomer, but she does a very good job. Yeah, and then I believe is Arata also? No, Arata's not new. Arata is
No.
Daishi
No,
Kaiji
he's done a
like
couple of roles. Yeah, he's done a couple of roles.
yeah. I mean, I think
Sure.
like one of his biggest would just be the fucking uh Yukichi with Bungo Stray Dogs, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
wait, actually, when did he? Why did he voice? Weird. But yeah. So he's like not new, but yeah, he's doing a
Yeah.
pretty standard young fella, popular guy voice.
Yeah. And everybody else in the cast is like super veterans, like pretty much.
Yeah, yeah, which I think is pretty fun. Uh,
Mhm.
Having for Kotaro, the former colleague guy, having Katsuyuki Konishi's been very, very fun. And then Kotono Mitsushi has been very fun too. That's sort of like the two
Mhm.
What'd you call it? The two sort of parent characters for
Mhm.
Kudoe. So that's been nice. And yeah, I think overall pretty solid. It is a very much like kind of what you see is what you get. Kind of to be expected.
Just a big, just a quick question before you go into like the last thoughts and the last words and rating. How do you find the Honeywork CD?
It's fine. I think it's pretty standard, to be
Okay.
honest. Like I wasn't super impressed. I think the one of the things that's really disappointing is that the OP and ED visuals are both not great. The ED is pretty standard with like not a whole lot going on in background, if not even not having backgrounds. And then the OP is like, so the OP track by Metanic is pretty fun, right? It's just like a screamo metal song with like
Yeah, yeah.
girls, like female vocals, which is fun. It's always nice. But the problem is like the visuals are very like black and white show stills and like
Oh,
could always like
okay.
legs like walking over it and stuff like that, and like with a bunch of like grunge effects over it, and it's just like it's
Mhm.
just visually obnoxious with like not a whole lot going on.
Right.
So that was kind of like probably the biggest disappointment, I would say, especially with a song like that. Getting like
Right.
pretty skimped out on visuals has been pretty sad to see.
Mhm. Any last words and rating?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty solid series. I think if you want a, like I said, what you see is what you get. So if you think you would be like pretty
How strong
pretty
is
interested
Kaiju
in
Girl?
this.
How strong is this? How strong is she?
Well, so I haven't really seen what she can particularly do yet, as far as like if she can do like her full like atomic breath and whatnot. But I imagine she's going to have like something like that, a full fire breath and everything.
So who would
She even in her human form, it looked like she was about to like, I don't know, she was like crackling with like evil electricity and shit too at one point, and about to like blow up the fucking theme park they were in. So like I imagine she's gonna wind up being pretty strong. And I mean physically she just like shrugs off like, tank shells and like helicopter like missiles and shit. So
who would win in a fight? Kaiju Girl, Caramelise, or Kaiju Girls?
Kaiju Girls? I don't know what that is.
You remember Kaiju Girls?
That's the
No, I don't remember
that's the
Kaiju Girls.
Ultraman one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't watch that.
What?
Yeah. It was
This guy
kinda
hates
mid.
Ultraman. Well, yeah, but
I heard it wasn't very good.
Yeah, it wasn't. So
Yeah, it was not good.
who would win in a fight?
I mean, it's probably going to wind up being Kudere because Kudere is being set up to be like literally
she's
just like
basically just legally
Godzilla.
distinct Godzilla.
Yeah.
So
So probably her.
Yeah. Godzilla, but somehow even more anime as the
Yeah.
as what they're what they
But yeah, this
yeah.
is sitting at
What
this is sitting at a 7.62 on Mall. I think that's pretty high. I would say this is probably like a 7. Maybe like a 6.5 or something. Just
still
because it's
solidly
not
above
like,
average for you.
yeah, it's definitely like I said, I think this is definitely worth checking out if you want just like a cozy little romance series with like a gimmick like this.
Mhm.
And some pretty cute voice work. Like I think this is definitely something that's like worthy of checking out. I just don't think it's like anything that's phenomenal or anything like that. That's just like,
You wouldn't mark it down as like immediate anime of the season, is what you would say.
no,
Is
I don't think this is like a contender for anything that's
like a comfort food anime.
yeah. Yeah, and it's a strong one at that. Like it's not even just
yeah,
like,
sure.
something like some. I forget what I gave Dada-san. Dada-san I probably gave like a 6.5 or something like that, maybe a 7. But I would kind of fit this in the
Yeah.
same like thing where it's like this is a little bit better with audio visuals, obviously, but it's definitely more of a comfort food than
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, Dark. And that was Kaiju Girl Caramelise, also known as Otome Kaiju Caramelise. Um done by or a manga original adapted into anime by none other than the lovely Light of Films. Has a pretty solid voice acting cast, pretty above average rom-com series, as Dark pointed out, has some a little bit more of a fun like romp via the kaiju stuff, and might have like a mix of other themes, as well as kind of delving a little bit more into the backstory down the road. But if you want a, as Nier pointed out, more like comfort food kind of level of series, please do check this out.